Hello to everybody, welcome here. I'm Mauro Mariuzzo from SMC, and I'm talking about Liferay IoT experience. So, all of you know about Liferay, Liferay 7 and Liferay Digital Experience Platform, a new umbrella that help you to add different elements on top of Liferay to build out-of-box funny solutions. With the DXP, you can control user or customer behavior and have the web content provided on this, and do funny collaboration, and of course do content and site publishes, public site. Using specific extensions, you can improve the Liferay solution for the needs of your specific projects. You can integrate Liferay with your legacy systems, CRM, ERP, e-commerce, not only to integrate, but also to add new experience to replace that product. For example, imagine you have a CRM. You have a newsletter that drives the user to a landing page. Inside the landing page, with the new Liferay forms, you build an enriched form to capture the customer data and register in the background inside the CRM. Of course, you have social on Liferay, not only inside the Liferay, because in Liferay we have friends, we have mentions, we have microblogs, we have social equity, but also outside Liferay, because you can bookmark a Liferay page in your social, share content in your social, or embed a Liferay portrait inside Facebook, for example. All this kind of information that you have inside Liferay are semantically related. There are a relation between a blog and a user, a content or a file having categorization and some other things. And obviously, Liferay is a platform for integration, suitable for integration. And out-of-box can provide you a very good platform to create your solutions. And Internet of Things. Internet of Things are element connected and internet connected. What I mean about connected? Connected means that they are reachable. An external actor can talk to that element. And not only using internet, but using a connection also in LAN. And are internet connected because the elements can talk each other to be able to do special things. So, Internet of Things is a bridge between the real world, the human world, and the digital world. And is a hot topic, a today opportunity. Why is a today opportunity? I have to switch to two slides in Italian that coming from a presentation the Italian government do a few weeks ago about an investment plan for the manufacturing, for the industry, that analyze the benefits of using modern technologies inside the company. Using modern technology, for example, a 3D printing to create a prototype, we can create the prototype, not a static prototype, but a working, functional prototype in spending less money. So we can speed up the production, we can create small pieces, produce few elements of a product by controlling how the machine works, and for example, to create that products when the energy costs less. And all these benefits are based or are a consequence of the adoption of the Internet of Things. Italy, like other countries, invest on this, invest on the adoption of new modern technologies. In the USA, they start years ago as a private initiative, but in France or in Germany too, there are initiatives by the central government to help the industry, based on tax reduction, to adopt new technologies. So, Internet of Things is a a theory is an element that live from few years. We live, we have things all around us. But the worst part is that there are many vendors, many protocols to handle. And it's a nightmare to talk, to manage the things. But what is really a things? We have to be clear about that. A things is obviously a physical element. A smartwatch, you have a lamp, you have an air conditioner, you have your computer. There are things because you can touch it. It's hardware. It's obvious to think about of something hardware. But for us, a things is something, is an element that is able to produce data. Data can be that you can use. Maybe a human can consume, can see, and take a decision about it. But not only a thing is everything producing data, but also everything able to execute commands or actions. So, not only data, but also actions. And software is also things, because it is an element able to produce data and execute commands. And we are working on things, on software things, every day, Liferay, JBox, and other applications. Another element to be clear, data and information. Data is a simple observation of a state. It is that observation in that specific moment. Data, things producing more data, but not all the data are useful for us. A data becomes useful when it becomes information. So that data, when it represents a fact, a meaning, then it is important. All the other data can be trashed. That's why an information, the same information, can become an information in the context you use it. For example, I have written smart home, smart city, industry health. There are places where things are located. But for smart home, for example, you have an air conditioner, and you, as a consumer, want to be able to see if the air conditioner is on or off. To set the temperature, so when you leave the office and arrive to home, you find your home comfortable. But as a manufacturer of that air conditioner, I want to know how you use it, how many times you start the air conditioner, and which is the difference between the temperature you set in your air conditioner compared to the weather or the external temperature. Maybe you are using the air conditioner in a wrong way. You make a component work hard, and maybe that component breaks. So as a manufacturer, I have to predict when this component breaks, or make that specific element of the air conditioner better to support the use you do of the air conditioner. So there are different, the information can be useful for different people in different point of view. So, what I'm doing? I'm doing an element called Internet of Things that on top of Liferay, but not to be a specific vertical extension. Something that can be part of the framework. This is why it is on your left. To allow you to build a vertical solution, your own solution, based on this. So let's go deeper at the architecture level. We have the IoT. The IoT obviously produces streams. So we have to define a component inside that framework, the IoT framework, that consume streams, time series streams and events. But this framework lives inside Liferay, and Liferay has CMS, has social features, has components able to integrate with other systems. And all this information are related and produce time series, produce events. So we receive all these kind of informations. And of course, we have to visualize it. So there is another component composing that framework to visualize all the time series and the events. The information are heterogeneous, are different, maybe needs to be have to be managed to be usable. For example, you have a different temperature sensor, one produces information in Kelvin, one in Fahrenheit, one in centigrade degree. So we have to adopt to use external component, see we deploy, that Eduardo talks this morning, to process the information and create new information that goes back into the platform as a new time series, a new event. The amount of the data can be very high, so the data coming from the IoT and the other sources or coming back after a transformation have to be stored. And the ideal storage is a NoSQL database. I write Cassandra, but you can have other database. Okay, we do a simple data visualization, but maybe to be the information to be very, very usable, have to be analyzed in a more complex way. So we can have analytics tools that bring all this data from our solution, create a drill down representation, reports, and so on, and this representation comes back in the data visualization tool. Going deeper, we have all this amount of data, and we maybe don't want only to present it to a human, but have some elements able to identify which of the 100 alarms that fire in the last minutes are critical and needs to be managed before the others. Or maybe which of the amount of information, the big amount of information, need useful to be processed by analytics tool to create a report, an interesting report for the CIO or the other guys. So after machine learning and predictive analysis, this information comes back to the streamers event to do what? To do automation and auto-action. So we have the machines that do command, invoke command to another machine. Let we focus to the blue boxes. That are the one we have already developed. So let's go deeper inside that blue boxes. We have Liferay. Inside Liferay, we have the device connector framework, our framework. Then we have the provider. What is the provider? What is a provider? A provider is the IoT element I have to talk to. So I can talk directly to an IoT devices using native protocols. MQTT is more a transport than a protocol because there isn't a specification about the payload format. OPC UI is another. There are hundreds of protocols. Then we have a partner or company that manage all the fields, create a cloud solution, so we have to talk with that elements. Or we can have other custom on-premises solution that talk to the fields and give us the information. Inside the device connector framework, we have different elements that, so we are able to provisioning the sensor, the devices, the things, process the stream, and to the control. All this is delegated by a driver. A driver is a component developed using OSGI that know how to talk to the single provider. And we have inside Liferay the Liferay elements. Why we have the Liferay elements? Also the Liferay elements. We have because this. So let me show the first part of the framework, so the provisioning. I log it in. We go to the control panel. There is a M2M device connector. You see an overview of the solution. We go to the provider panel. There is a provider already configured. We can change it, and we, from Liferay, can test if we have the connection on this. Let me define another provider. Obviously, we have to give it a name, a description, but the interesting part is the type in the middle of the screen. The type is the driver I have to use to connect to you, to connect to him. The part of the screen under the type changes because every type has its own fields, its own configuration. That I feel, I test it, okay. I can talk to him, registered. A provider that we go to switch to devices. Device is a group of sensors. The device also has a type. This is a driver to talk to the devices, and categorization and tags. A device is an asset. We know better why. A device is a group of sensors. We have the sensor. We have a preview of the data grabbed from the fields. Let we define a sensor, giving him a name. We call it temperature centigrade, or maybe centigrade is not the right pronunciation. Device and sensor are assets that make me to create a relation between the field, the information that comes from the fields to the information I already have inside Liferay. The scope of this demonstration is to have, because I'm a winery, I want to create a news of a new products, and I want to ensure my customer that the wine is stored inside a room with the right temperature and the right humidity. So I connect the devices I have enabled, and now I start to grab the information. So I have the sensor that receives the information from the fields, defined inside the connector framework. Now I go to the CMS part of Liferay. I create a new blog entries with some title. Okay. I select the sensor as related asset, and okay, I select the temperature, I select another one. And I publish. So, in a standard Liferay pages, having asset publisher and related asset, okay, I have to publish also an image, okay? This is my new blog entry into a standard asset publisher. When I go into detail, because I have the related asset on the left, I see the sensor information. So, fields information becomes asset that I can present in my CMS experience. This is a recap. Another, making the elements become a sensor, make me do these things. I can create a dashboard using Liferay layout templates. I design my templates, I drop all my sensor and I create a dashboard to control a specific fields, the specific information, specific sensor, and having an overview of him. But this is a static dashboard because I represent only that one. They are assets. I can use it because they are assets. I can categorize it. I can create a vocabulary. I can create a tags. So I can use it. Okay, I start to categorize a sensor. Let me skip something because I'm go out of time. So I'm categorizing it. So when I finish to categorize, I skip. I go to the navigation, to another page, having a category navigation, standard category navigation on the right. When I select a category, the left part, having an asset publisher, like every other asset, switch, the content switch to react to the category selection. Of course, we have created custom specific navigation to be used maybe to create a custom end user control panel. You can navigate your provider, your driver, and have the element show on the left. Okay. This is all about data visualization. Okay, stop the visualization and reactivate the visualization. I'm also able to recognize alarms on the device. For example, I have a temperature sensor. I want to set up. I want to receive an alarm when the temperature is over 10 degrees. So I go to the sensor. We have implemented a basic threshold alarms. Okay, I will show you that now. Okay, a simple threshold alarm, so I can set the limits in a no value, using a no value. Maximum value now is not 23 but 15. Then I publish. And when I receive, there is a manager alarm because I receive a new information. The information is over the threshold. But not only I receive the alarm inside the machine-to-machine framework, but only it is a notification using a standard Liferay notification. If you install the push notification inside your Liferay, the standard push notification, you receive the alarm in your mobile phone. Okay, this is a recap. Okay, I think I go out of time, so maybe I will see this presentation after. The scope of this presentation is to show these cases. So maybe the fields produce information that for me are not useful until an alarm fire. So I don't receive any information, but when the alarm fire, I'm able to go inside the sensor, give me all the history, and I receive all the history of the information. So that is, in this slide, you will see what we already have. Maybe the actuation is not fully and has not. Okay, let me stop. In this field, we have all the things that we already had. As previously said, the data coming from the field or managed, transformed, have to be stored inside an external database that can be managed by modeling tools, by Spark or other tools to be converted, modeled to produce new kind of information that can be consumed by the framework. What we are doing now is to attach all this information to presentation and analytics tools to create a new kind of representation, create a new kind of information that come back to the framework and produce and allow you to add more actions, or the things that Jorge talks yesterday or this morning, I don't remember, yesterday, or have a machine learning tool that analyze all this kind of information and do actuation. This is an overview of what we have. In blue, the elements that is already done, the parts of the buffer or the framework that is already done. In silver, the one that we are working on, and in white, the one that we are already started, but they are a long-term, released in the near future. Okay, this is a recap, a short recap of what we have. I have shown you. Liferay IoT Experience is a new framework that allows you to create IoT solution on Liferay. So give you all the elements on the block you can use to compose your solution. It integrates with the standard portal frameworks to reuse all the power, all the features that Liferay give you, subscription, push notification, asset management, and create a unified experience. It wants to be completely agnostic on the specific vendor and protocols, and want to be able to consume information between different devices from different vendors. That's all. Questions?
I think it's very awesome what you showed us, and if I would like to read something back of your information, because I had the calendar tool was one of your other great things you did in the past, and it's for me impossible to find the information in a non-Italian language. Have you got this somewhere on your sites? Because if I go to the SMC site...
Sorry, you're talking about this?
No. Basically, in general, if I go to your SMC site to find applications, I need Google Translate, actually.
I report your question to our guys to have the English translation of the material, the website material.
Thank you. Parli italiano? I'm joking. I don't know if it's a question, but last month I read an article about the greatest cracker attack to a DNS server made by a botnet composed of IoT devices. And this is quite scary because an attack from my lamp is really a scary thing. Don't you think there should be even on an application level, a security layer to defend from this kind of stuff?
Okay. In the bottom left side, you see the providers. The providers, most of them use protocols. There isn't a standard in the IoT. There are multiple standards, and MQTT, for example, is the one that is more powerful, but less secure. So one thing that you can do with these elements is to have to connect your devices on a gateway that allow only you to talk with him, or him talk only to you. So the only way to secure your Internet of Things elements is to use secure protocols. OPC UA has security, but if you are on MQTT, how to do? Create a solution behind. Your machine talks to that solution talks in a secure way to you. This is the only way at the moment. And this is the only way to secure also the platform, because we talk with an actor, Amazon, Azure, Eurotech, Tridium, and in using SSL. But if you have to talk to an unsecure device, we cannot add security on it. What we try in our framework is to prevent attacks from the top. From the bottom, we have no control. We have no control on the fields. There are other guys worrying about this. I hope I answered your question. Otherwise, we can mess around. Okay. If there isn't any other question, if you have a question, okay.
Thank you for your presentation. Very interesting for the future. I have a concrete, so the example that you gave for the wine from Tuscania, it's a real implementation, concrete implementation, or is just you're working on this project? And there are customers using Liferay to implement such a digital experience.
Isn't a real production project. It's a project based on sensors in a demo room. So there is a demo room with sensor, temperature, humidity, sun, weather, and other. There are a bunch of sensors, and we connect only on few of them to create a situation that can be demonstrable. But there are physical fields, so you can bring in your winery and use it.
We now have lunch starting in the lobby. But before we head out, let's hear one last round of applause for Mauro Mariuzzo.
Mariuzzo.
Mariuzzo, thank you. And if you have any questions, please meet with him up here.